Cast me to Magaria! It's time for the Mad Merlin's Warhammer 40,000 Imperium journey. Episode 18, Part 1, Lore and Building. Hello and welcome back to the Mad Merlin's Warhammer 40,000 Imperium journey. I hope you enjoyed episode 17, because now we're moving on with the hotly anticipated issue 18 with Necron Technomancer, which is a single model. We learn all about the deadly Jukari, and we have rules for our Technomancer. So, that's our magazine, and here's our model. We'll go vertical quickly just to have a look at the frames. So, our model is over 2 frames and a single 50mm round base. So one frame consists of the main torso, 2 of the claws for the spider cloak, his back, and his staff of light. Flip it over to see all the other details. And the second sprue is his head, left arm, and the canoptic cloak spider creature that helps him float along the battlefield. Oh, a nice little kit. There we are. Moving right along then, we can start looking at our new lore. So, as my magazine is already fallen to pieces, we can just flip the pages. So, in this issue, we get the HQ5 Technomancer for our Necrons. We got the Tools of War, the armor and equipment for the Space Marines, faction data sheet for the Jukari, and a story, The March of the Machines. Building and painting our Technomancer, and hunting the Technomancer is the name of our playthrough. So here is our data sheet for our Technomancer, which is a Cryptek class model. So Technomancers belong to the rank of Crypteks, Necrons who are masters of science and technology. They specialise in repairing damaged Necrons and canoptic constructs on the field of battle. They are also lethal warriors in their own right. So, as we said before, this model is equipped with a canoptic cloak, which is one of the many pieces of war gear Crypteks can take. He has a staff of light, and a detail that they are also advisors to the higher rankings of the Necrons. So, I've already named him. We have Zanekar, who is the Void Walker. His epithets are Herald of Night and Ending and Bane of the Swarm. His ancient degradation is he's very protective of his own creations. And his staff of light is called the Celestial Annihilator. We've got a little battle record at the bottom for recording any repairs he's made on the battlefield, and achievements he's achieved with his weapon in combat. Our first bit of lore is the Tools of War Power Armor for the Space Marines. So this looks at all the different types of power armor, from your standard Astartes issue war gear, from the Thunder armor right through to the Aquila armor, and then the more modern Maximus armor, not Maximus, Tacticus armor. Maximus is my favourite mark of armour, the Mark IV. We also have information about the Terminator Armor. So, as we was in the process of saying, even unarmoured, the genetically enhanced transhuman Space Marines are formidable warriors who can withstand terrible punishment. When clad in a suit of ceramite power armour, however, the battle brothers of the Adeptus Astartes are almost unstoppable. And as moved on. Tacticus Armor is the most modern, up-to-date versions of power armor. It is a special type of armor that is segmented, so it can break down into the lighter Phobos and can even upgrade to the heavier Gravis. Next lore is the faction of the Jukari. So the Jukari are sadistic killers who feed off despair, anguish and suffering of their victims. Piratical slayers, they raid their unsuspecting enemies with lightning speed before vanishing back into the layers of Camorra, the twisted city that lurks deep in the webway. So this is yet another report, this time penned by Inquisitor Gallius Sharn, who is a member of the Ordo Xenos, and it details what the Inquisition know and are willing, I say willing, to divulge to the public. So we got a bit about an interrogation of a prisoner, how they attack the real space raids, how they drain souls from their enemies and even their own kind, and also the dark city of Camorra. Our final piece of lore is a short story called The March of the Machines. It sees a small Skitarii cohort with a Armiger Knight companion as they march towards a suspected abandoned ammo and fuel storage, shall I say, but it turns out to be a deadly trap. The way they end it, I'm expecting there to be another page. I've already looked through to issues 21 and 22, and that actually has a two-part story, so which is again the Necrons and the Lex Mechanicus. It's quite a nice little story. I haven't read it fully yet, but it's nice that we're going to have some multi-page stories. So it gives us a nice taste of what the lore and stories behind the Warhammer 40,000 is actually going to be like. Alright, next we're on to building. Let's grab our tools and I'll be right back. Okay, we're ready to start building our Technomancer. The instructions does say that it's a good idea to leave it into two sub-assemblies, which is his main torso and the Canoptek cloak section. So our first components are parts 2, 3 and 4, which form the base and the spine of the Canoptek cloak. I'll cut those components out. I'll be right back for assembly. So we've clipped out our first components, and our first step is to glue parts 4 and 3 together. So we want to put our glue just on the inside there, and as you can see there is a little notch there and a groove on the underside here. We're going to line those two up and it will sit flush. Make sure you wipe away any excess glue. And next we can glue the tail to the underside. Next we want parts 5 and 6, so I'll set this off to dry and I'll clip those components out. With parts 5 and 6 cut out, we can now assemble these. So this is the rear of the Canoptek spider, so I want to make sure that is facing towards the end. And we've got some tiny little posts and pegs. So just put small bit of glue on the posts, pegs and on the side tabs here, just so it sits in and connects better. Line it up and sandwich those two together. Next we can go ahead and put a dot of glue on the neck join and bring in his cute little face. I say cute, it will probably bite your own face off if you look at it wrong. So I'll leave those to dry, and we're going to start cutting out the leg assemblies. The instructions do say that you want to cut out and attach parts 8 first, so we'll go ahead and do that. So on this through here, I'll be right back as soon as I cut them out. So we've got our 2 part 8s cut out, and as was pointed out to me by a friend of mine, this diagram here actually has 3 8s instead of 2 8s and 4 7s. So use this diagram here as the correct one, having 7 there, and your 2 8s there, which will be these 2 posts right here. So pop a little bit of glue in there and there, and these just sit in like so. So now we can go ahead and cut out all the part 7s, and I'll be ready to assemble those shortly. Okay, we've got all our part 7s, so we can go ahead and put our glue in place. So just these little notches up under here, like so. And we can place each leg in. And the last leg like so. That should match up nicely like that. Leave that to dry, and we can start focusing on our next components. So our next components is to actually build the main body of our cryptek. So to start off, we need parts 10 and 9. I'll get those clipped up and cleaned off. With parts 9 and 10 cut out, there is a small tab attached to this foot that needs to be removed. It's only an excess bit of plastic from where the mold was made. So our contact points are the hip and the 2 little notches just there. And then we can push parts 9 and 10 together. And let them solidify. While we're doing that, we can cut out our next components, which is his staff light, his head and his arm. With our components cut out, we can start assembling. So part 11 will sit into the little notch there on the neck. Just pop a little bit of glue in there. Then lower part 11 in place, like so. Next we got part 13, which is just a simple ball and groove socket, like that. So pop our glue in and fit our arm. Hold it for a few seconds, let it dry. There we go. And lastly, part 12, his staff light, which goes in just like that. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, it's a good idea to leave this guy as a sub-assembly. I suggest putting a piece of wire into the empty cavity there, which is where his backpack, his cloak will fit on. So we do that with a little pin vise and a spare piece of paper clip, and then cover the area with some blue tack once the super glue holding the paper clip in has dried, just so that we don't get any paint on the area where the glue will be melting the plastic later on. Okay, we'll leave that like that to dry, and we can move on to our last two components. So we need parts 1 and part 14. So with our components cut out, there's going to be a slight word of caution. As you can see just there, I've bent this. I didn't even put that much pressure on. I was literally turning it over my hand and it decided to cave inwards. So be extra careful with this component. And also, when cutting out the Stratholite, cut these two bits off from the frame first, so you don't put any unneeded strain on them when cutting the rest out. But on with the rest of our assembly. Who's an assembly? So first we'll take 14. We want to run a line of glue down those 3 little post holes there, and they will go onto the 3 little nubs, completing the tail. Next, we want to glue our bottom tab there into the slot there. So we'll put a little bit of glue just there, and that can go in like so, and then we're ready to glue our detail base down to the actual base. There we go. Like I said, if you leave your excuse me, if you leave your completed model like this, it'll make painting it a lot easier. You can get to all your detail back here and on the back. Just make sure you, once you attach it to some wire, cover up this area and cover up this area so that you don't get any paint on it, so that when it comes to gluing it together, you can just push in like so. There we go. So that's our Technomancer all built and ready for battle. Or well, it would be once he's got some paint on him. I've had one request to see this guy painted from start to finish. If anyone else would like to see this guy painted from start to finish, please drop a comment below and I will think about possibly doing my first live stream. And if you would like any more painting tutorials, please let me know by leaving a comment in the description below, in the comment section down below, and I will be able to get back to you. So that's 18 part 1 finished. So all what's left for me to do is thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. And if you would like to help the channel out further, please do so by using my affiliate link for Curton Games. There's my Buy Me a Coffee link in the description below, as well as a link to my website and my social media pages. So thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time for more mad content. Goodbye.